sure, but when you want to take a right through Arboretum Drive, which allows you access, of course, to Chiromolen, is closed, which has, as you can see through our pictures, that is the entrance of Arboretum Drive with anti-riot unit, who are maybe, just holding, traffic right here for now. But just before we came here, of course, as I told you earlier, Aseto, is we tried accessing, Waiyaki Way through Dennis Sprit Road, which is closed for now because, Dennis Sprit is borderline State House for now. So those are one of the, hot spots for, the protesters. For now, at least, they want to access those areas, at least they say that, and also town. So on our way here, Nyayo, you are ordered by police or anti-riot police. They are commonly around here, and you're ordered to use maybe, Valley Road, which is again closed on the side of Dennis Pit. But that's my update for now, Aseto.
Thank you, boss, for that update. You see razor barbed wire erected on roads there, especially that lead to protected areas. That would be state towns. If you're trying to access those routes, no, thank you. The police have blocked the roads. You have to go the long way if you are trying to come down Valley Road and Kenyatta Avenue towards the CBD. The roads there have been blocked. Razor barbed wire. Remember, that is a protected area because State House is just a stone throw away. But now, let's go to Thika Road, where Thika Road during the 25th demonstrations was equally a hot spot. We saw the engagement between the protesters and the police there, not an exciting scene. Good morning, Davis Mberia. Welcome back from Lewa Marathon, but today you are in another marathon again. How is the situation along Thika Road?
Thank you very much, Dennis Aseto. Yes, as you said, we are along Thika Road and, of course, situated at the General Service Unit. And here, it is one of the tense moments, Saba Saba coming all along. But here, the roads have been barricaded. If my camera person will just give you what is happening, a clear picture of it. Police officers have mounted roadblocks here, and they're doing the checkups before you actually get your way. In the last 10 minutes we have been here, we've not seen any single matatu operating. That means of course, people coming from these areas of Kasarani, Roysambu, Githurai, they are being forced actually to walk to town. And here, if my camera person is giving you, so the police are doing the checkups before you are allowed to actually make your way to town, and also the motorbikes which are actually applying from, of course, these areas to town have been forced actually to turn away. So major disruption at also Roysambu. We also saw there's some, of course, barricade that have been put there, and the Thika Road Mall, which actually I'm told it has been closed, meaning there is no actually business going on here at actually Thika Road. And also we've seen the situation remain tense but controlled at this hour. We are monitoring what will be going on. And concerning what the mood is like, this mixed tension, determination, some commuters are actually frustrated by the transport disruption, others expressing, of course, support for the constitutional, of course, rights to the peaceful protest. And we have also seen before coming here along of course, the other side, there is small groups assembling at various, of course, points at right there at the bridge, and also the massive, of course, disruptions. When I talked to some of the, of course, road users, they're telling me it is not once, it is not twice. They are actually determined to make their way to their, of course, working places. So we are here along Thika Road and we are monitoring the situation. We shall be talking to some of the road users. We shall be talking to some of the people who have been affected by the Saba Saba protest. 35 years since actually this happened in 1990, and it is happening this year, making the celebration. But of course, remember, the protests have been initiated by what actually people are calling forceful, of course, barricade and the crucial moment in the actually Kenya's multi-party democracy struggle. And remember, Aseto, we have also witnessed some of the actually other areas, not just Thika Road, but also where I was coming from in Utawala. There was a big, of course, mount barricade at the 75 stage, which actually the Kenya Army is based. And after that, we also saw another actually barricade which was mounted at the GM Center and at the Imara Daima. So I'll try speak to some of the actually road users here, and of course some of the motorbike operators, just to tell us what are they actually working on, and to express their frustration in the Saba Saba, of course, protest that is happening today. Let me just make my own way to the other side, just to tell us what is happening today and maybe what does it mean for them. Kaka, hujambo? Karibu kwenye KTN. Niambie tu leo kumekuaje na mnahisi vipi kama nyinyi waendesha bodaboda?
Sisi kama waendesha bodaboda tutapoteza pesa mingi sana leo kwa sababu sasa unajua hatuko kazi. Alafu pia vile unaona hii maeneo sasa vile kuko hivi, nimesaidia mtoto mwingine, nimefika huku, lakini sasa kurudi imenishinda, nimefungiwa. Hiyo tu ndio shida sasa na changamoto tunaona sasa siku ya leo.
Ulikuwa unatoka wapi? Ulikuwa unaelekea wapi?
Nimetoka Westlands, nimeleta abiria hapa Rosters, lakini sasa kurudi huko ndio imenilemea.
Niambie tu jina lako kaka, songa karibu. Niambie tu jina lako, alafu unieleze maandamano ya leo unahisi vipi? Naona tayari barabara zimefungwa. Wewe kama mkazi wa eneo hili unahisi vipi?
Hii ni ufala hii. Wanafunga barabara ya nini? Kwani sisi hatufai kufanya mambo yetu ya kawaida? Kuandamana ni right ya kila mtu, tunafaa kuandamana. So ifai ati wanatufungia barabara tusifanye mambo yetu. Kuandamana ndio lazima tuandamana, juu ni one time, lazima ende one time. Hata one time sijui itaisha.
Wewe kivyako wewe ulikuwa unaenda kazini ama umekuwa tu matembezi?
Mimi naenda kwanza kazini kwanza. Na hata siendi town. Niko also tunafaa kuingia Kariobangi. Mbona wanakataza watu kuingia?
Na kabla ya hapo umepata pengine vizuizi mahali kwingine?
Nimetoka all the way from Ruiru. Hiyo kizizi zote tatu nimepita. Nimepata CBD pale Kahawa, pale kwa jeshi. Hapo pia wamefunga. Sawa, wametufungulia. Kufika hapa huyu mwingine hata nikawa nitakupigana nyaunyo.
Haya kaka, kidogo tu, wewe mwendesha bodaboda, leo umepoteza senti nyingi zaidi. Tueleze tu unahisi vipi katika siku hii ya Sabasaba?
Nahisi vibaya, juu hadi sijapata mboka bana. Kisha customer wa kwanza ndio huyo ma roadblock, hii ndio tumekataza kupita na nishafika. Sasa hiyo sio biashara bana. Unafungia watu biashara. Hiyo sio poa bana.
Thank you very much, Aseto. Those are some of the sentiments from, of course, road users and some of the motorbike operators who are actually lamenting they are losing a lot in this Saba Saba protest due to the blockage of the Thika Road and some of the places which they can't access. Some of them, they're going to work, they have not yet accessed town, and some of them, they're saying they have actually faced a difficult time in actually accessing their clients who are heading to different places. So I'll be here every other minute just to keep a keen eye on what will be happening. I'll be also crossing over to the other side of course, Kasarani and all the way to Ruiru just to monitor what is happening and just to update our viewers in our subsequent bulletins. Back to you, Aseto, in studio.
David Bedia joining us us from along Thika Road there as he brings us up to speed on the situation on ground. You see frustrations from Kenyans and business operators in the area saying that the inconvenience is not warranted. Let's go to Gloria Velimo. Gloria, you still are around Nyayo and you're speaking to those who operate the border industry there. How is the situation? What are they saying this morning?
Well, Aseto, we are here next to Highway Mall, just adjacent to Nyayo Stadium. And what we've seen, police officers just pushing the border guys towards this other side, away from the roundabout. Maybe if you can just allow me to talk to some of them. How has this roadblocks that have been mounted affected their business today? Asante sana, uko live kwenye KTN. Utaanza na kuniambia jina lako na leo siku imekuwaje kwako?
Jina langu ni Dan. Leo hii kama mnavyoona kwamba askari wametuzuia kuingia hapa. There is a lot of disarray. They have literally blocked every way that we can access town. And we came in the morning so that we can evacuate those of them that came in the morning. They are to work because there are no matatus here. Only the bodabodas. And the police have blocked us. We cannot access Nairobi. All paths to Nairobi and out, they are not allowing us. There is a lot of disarray, but then we hope that it won't be so chaotic, and we are hoping for peace. We are encouraging for peace, but then the government should also listen to the common wananchi. They should listen to us and bring justice. Yes.
And in terms of revenue, for you, like in a day, how much do you reckon? And considering what's happening, how is it set to affect your revenue generation today?
In works like this, you cannot be specific on the amount that you are supposed to earn on each day because, again, the consumption of fuel went up in the past few years, so we are not able to calculate how much we earn because if maybe, for example, we use, you may consume 1,000 shillings, and after you consume 1,000 shillings, you may just use that one on the roads and it won't make so much profit. Yes.
Well, thank you very much for that. Seto, if you can allow me, let me just talk to another one. Wewe, hii Sabasaba imekuathiri vipi kama mfanya biashara?
Asa kama sisi watu wadudi leo ametuharibia, maskari wanatufukuza, hakuna penye tunaweza pata. Sisi tunaweza sema hata one time kwa sababu wanatusumbua.
Na je, mmeruhusiwa kuingia mjini?
Hapana, tunafungua sisi pia watu wadudi.
Na wewe Sabasaba inamaanisha nini kwako?
Sasa Sabasaba kama sisi tunakumbuka ile wakati wa ilikuwa tumerudia tu hii maneno ya Sabasaba.
Hakuna lolote ambalo unaelewa kuhusu Sabasaba?
Hakuna.
I said, so if time allows, I don't know whether I can talk to more people just to find out their opinion. Habari yako, naomba ukuje hapa karibu. Tafadhali, uko live kwenye KTN, utueleze tu, njoo hivi, utueleze wewe kama, sijui kama umetembea, na iwapo umetembea kutoka wapi hadi wapi?
Nimetembea kutoka, mimi nimetembea kutoka Nakuru na miguu.
Umetembea kutoka Nakuru? Kwa nini?
Ni shida ilikuwa ni gari. Ni gari.
Matembezi yako yalianza saa ngapi hivi?
Yalianza saa 9 usiku. Sasa hii ndio nimefika hapa.
Hakuna gari kabisa. Na hapa mjini, ulipofika mjini, hali ilikuwa vipi?
Hali ilikuwa hivi tofauti. Nimeona hata nimeingia pale town, hakuna magari, hakuna nini. Kwa hivyo tunahuzunika sana. Tunahuzunika sana. Sana. Tunahuzunika sana.
Poleni sana. Na wewe, maandamano ya Sabasaba, je, unajua nini kuyahusu?
Maandamano ya Sabasaba hata ni ya kukumbuka, nikakukumbuka wale ambao walianzisha hii Sabasaba, na mpaka sasa tukumbuke hiyo siku, na mpaka hiyo siku ikue, na mpaka watu waandamane, hiyo lazima.
Thank you very much. Sijui kama unataka kuzungumza, tueleze wewe, hii Sabasaba imekuathiri vipi?
Sabasaba imeniathiri sana sababu biashara yetu leo iko down. Tunarasiwa na polisi kukurukakara huku mbio kila mahali. Hata tumeshindwa pande barabara za kwenda kwa nyumba tumepata zimefungwa sote. Sasa tumeathirika sana.
Poleni sana. Well, Aseto, those are some of the sentiments from border guys and pedestrians here along Mombasa Road, just at the Bunyala roundabout next to Nyayo Stadium. So we want to also see whether we can find our way to town, because apparently we've also been stopped. Our vehicles cannot move past the roadblock we had shown you earlier. So we are hoping to move towards Haile Selassie to see whether we can get some pedestrians to talk to, just to assess, to tell us how the situation has been, how far they have walked, and we can see some here. Let's see whether we can get, we can hear from them. Habari yako madam, uko live kwenye KTN. Umetembea kutoka wapi tafadhali?
Nimetoka Mlolongo.
Umetoka Mlolongo. Ulishukia wapi tafadhali? Angalia huku tafadhali.
Acha niende cause nimechelewa.
Yes, Aseto, as you can see, most of them have trekked from far, and it's becoming a little bit hard to talk to some of them. But like I mentioned, we want to trek all the way to Haile Selassie Junction, the roundabout at Haile Selassie, to see whether we'll be able to talk to some of them who are currently there. Remember that no vehicles are allowed past that roundabout towards the city center. Back to you in studio.
Thank you, Gloria. And that gentleman that walked from Nakuru, you know, back in history days, we're told they're Kenyans who are considered to be long-distance travelers. I know some that are in the studio who belong from that community. But as well, Gloria, as you're trying to make your way, perhaps you could join the rest of the Kenyans and just trek towards town and give us the situation on the road. But remember, while at it, just be careful while at it. And it is a lot of inconvenience that Kenyans are experiencing this morning. You look at the transport sector and you extrapolate that and compare to the economy of the country, because it is the transport industry that brings all these Kenyans to a central point where they get to work and push the economy that we're saying we're trying to grow at a rate of 5.8%. But is it really going to work?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Or are we just shooting ourselves on the foot in the sense that we're trying to stop demonstrations?
I think, first of all, this is a success to the people who had planned for the demonstration. Yeah, I think the main aim of demonstration is to stop businesses, to make sure that there's the businesses, the countries that are standstill, and especially the city center, the CBD, where a lot of Kenyans go to. But apart from that, you can also see the build-up frustration. You know, during the mandamanos, most of the time the borders, there's still some businesses that are still running. But you can see now this is also building frustration to everyone. People are asking themselves, how long are we going to deal with this? Are we going to still have another second term to deal with the protest? Because they thought that the memorial protest was the last one. We have a Saba Saba. So the organizers will just be sitting down and looking at the month and saying, 8th August, we're having another protest. And the police will do the same thing that they're doing, even if people are not showing up for those protests. So it's so unfortunate, but I think using old tactics to handle the modern protest, modern styles, modern activities. These guys will be on their social media. They'll be showing what is happening around. The whole world know what is happening in Kenya now. So I believe the bottom line is just to get a lasting solution. Can we have a sit down? Can we now have another broadest base where young people are also on the table and feel accommodated in this government? Because that has been the cry. The plea is, can we have a conversation as a country? But you'll see, today, after this, tomorrow, the politicians will have the same narrative. They say, oh, young people, serikali itaendelea mbele, we cannot listen to people. Those are political theatrics. All those narrative that doesn't help us as a country. So my hope is we are inconveniencing a lot of people. As we inconvenience a lot of people, we are also building frustration. There are people who are on the 2-term, but they're feeling like, are we going to be having this for the next 10 years. So they'll say, let's end this and have a government that will listen to everyone, not just us who are supporting the two-term.
Bishop, now, it is a question of, he's talked about having conversations and negotiations. Let's sit down and talk, you know. But here's a question. You face a group of protesters or a group of young people who say, we are leaderless, we are faceless. Ours is a memorandum we've presented to you. End police brutality, end corruption, use our money well, you know. And that is all the conversation they want to have. And one would hope that one would zoom out and look at the issues and address them one by one. The church has been vocal in terms of listening to the cry of the people, but that does not seem to be cutting it, especially into the political circle. Do you feel like there is a goodwill in dealing with the issues that are seeing Kenyans go to the streets to demonstrate?
Well, first of all, maybe to help my friend to just adjust a little bit of a statement. The purpose of Maandamano, as he has stated out clearly, is not really to stop businesses. The real purpose of Maandamano is to communicate an ideology. And I like the way he's, you know, he's brought the real reality that we are, look, Maandamano is the, or rather demonstration for those across the divide. The agenda of that particular day or the event is to communicate something, and Maandamano, or rather demonstration, is the last line of communication. It means before you see a people out there, as he said, a structure has built up of frustration inside a person. And that's why I said earlier that the problem with our leaders is to listen late. So by the time people are on the streets, as he's saying, the businesses have closed and everything, you know, it's a symptom that we are not really dealing with the main problem. So coming back to your question, is there goodwill? I don't think so. Because if you really look at it, although we have some few people that are trying to tribalize the movement, I can tell you as a young person, I mean, we are all seated here as young people and, you know, in the political divide, as a minister of the gospel and into the media department. If I really sit down and ask from where we are coming from, you understand that we are not speaking political, I mean, tribalically. That card of tribal line, it has been long forgotten. We are not in the 90s where, you know, it mattered where you came from. We are not in the early 2000s. I mean, I've even had an opportunity to go outside there. If there is goodwill for these people to listen, these young kids, all they are saying, or rather what we are just saying is A, B, C, D. Can you imagine a year later, the lady whose 12-year-old child was shot? Was it 12-year-old child? The lady, yes, I think is in Rongai or somewhere. Yes. Can you imagine taking a phone call and the leader of a nation speaking to her, according to what we say, that was it Itumbi that called and then the leader of the nation? Can you imagine even up to now, 1 year later, no one saw the need to reach out to that particular person, or rather deploy that which they had shared about. So no, there is no goodwill to listen to us. I think most of the people, they are just advising the president that he knew people too. I mean, these are young kids, confused kids. These are not the 90 kids. I mean, if I sit down and ask Mr. Billion, his exposure to what he's doing now has been credited even more by the advancement of the information that he's receiving. My exposure as a pastor, I mean, long ago, you'd rarely see a pastor probably involved in such matters, because we have been put in a corner that our job is to just speak on Sunday and to tell people your money is coming, your car is coming, but anything to do with the nation, don't address it. Just stick to the altar, and that's what they're saying. So there is no goodwill, and that's why you see pastors are coming out in such platforms. If there was goodwill, they would have listened early and would not be in this situation now. So I don't think the agenda is to listen. I think the agenda is to show power. And let me tell you, by the way, nothing is solved by power. The best way to solve a situation is wisdom. Believe me, I'm married for 12 years. I can tell you the man is more powerful. But if you use power, you as the man, you lose your marriage. There are situations whereby you just look at your wife and you're like, I mean, what is your problem? But if you go with that direction, both of you will lose. So this is a marriage between Kenyans and their leaders. And in order for a marriage to be kept, everyone must play his part. The government must be willing to listen to us, who in the structure is like the husband, the superior, and then we must be willing to listen to them. But you see, it's not that we're not willing to listen. Who is willing to who is willing to speak to us. So the agenda of just pushing these young people on the side and assuming that they don't know what they are saying, these are not the kids of the 90s, and shortly it will show.
You see, when you talk about the 90s, thousands of Kenyans led by Kenneth Matiba, Charles Rubia, and others defied a government ban to hold a rally at Kamkunji grounds in Nairobi, demanding a return to multi-party democracy. Now, when we talk about in the 2024-2025, Saba Saba took a new relevance in Kenyans mobilized even online for protest against finance bill. They are seeking justice for victims of state violence, voicing frustration with police brutality, rising cost of living, and persistent corruption. Now, you talk about in 2024, we know on Saba Saba Day, after the push for all that I've just mentioned, there was a concert to commemorate those who had died a month earlier. Now, we come to 2025, and nationwide demonstrations and schools have closed today. You know, parents were told, stay with your kids at home because there would be demonstrations. The state cannot guarantee security for kids in school. Then we have with calls to improved governance accountability for extrajudicial killings. We talk about extrajudicial killings. It has been a conversation starting from June 2024. Come to 2025, we have cases of Albert Ojwang, we have Boniface Kariuki, and still counting. No justice has been felt. And Kenyans are coming out to say, Mr. Government, listen to us. You've said this is a marriage where everybody needs to sit down and talk. But even while at it, you hear Raila Amolo Odinga saying that when you talk about Saba Saba, I was part of that. And this was being held in Kamkunji. It is not what you have turned it to be. You know, I am behind this. Do the young people today have right to hijack Saba Saba and make it their own?
Thank you, Dennis. Number one, the language that the government understands. From back then when Honorable Raila Odinga used to go on the streets is demonstration. I was talking about, you know, having designated places for demonstrations. The bill that Honorable Passaris was trying to introduce in Parliament. And I think one of the things that we need to get to those institutions where we want to share our petition. So a good example was, right now, there's nothing much that happens around Kamkunji. So much is happening in the city, and I said that, you know, sometimes the demonstration is to make, for us to be listened to. If people would demonstrate 10 people and things are normal, then the government would not listen. People will dismiss the demonstration. But this has been so well curated that when there are demonstrations, all the streets are closed. So there's nothing that is happening. And that is the only language that government understands. Coming back to Raila's statement yesterday, I think, one, we agree with him that he played his role during his time. There are major milestones that were achieved then. But now this is now another different generation. And every generation have their own issues that they're fighting for. We have democracy. Is the democracy working? Maybe yes, maybe not. But now young people have been fighting for strengthening some of these institutions. That even when we have the democracy, when we have elections, the elections are free, fair, and transparent. If you look at the cases of corruption, because we say it's young people that have many more years to live, and if there's corruption, it fixes young people more. So there have been tangible issues that young people have been raising. Police brutality has been one of them. Accountabilities. We see how our leaders are living. They splash money, they shove money, while young people, as we speak today, I have a cousin who is stuck in Saudi Arabia. She was taken there to work by the government. She was promised that, you know, this will help you.
Kazi Maju.
Yeah, Kazi Maju. This will help you take care of your families. And as we speak, she has gone through all through different frustrations. So this is what young people are going through across the country. And the way Bishop John said, I've seen a tribal narrative around it. And even if you go on social media now, you'd hear people from a particular tribe saying, this is not our war. But I believe as young people, this is our war. If we want to change the face, if we want to change the institutions, if we want to change how Kenya will look like in the next 5-10 years, this is our war. Back then, Honorable Raila Odinga and the team, Orengo, Mwite, and I am happy that yesterday Orengo said, you know what, we did our part, it is your time to play your part. So hopefully we realize as young people that, we are being taken on rounds. There's nothing particularly that is being handled, nobody's being listened to. And it's good that this generation is leaderless. This movement is leaderless. And the only thing that we are asking for is not you to reward our leader or reward the leaders. Our questions, our concerns, our agitation is to fix particular institutions. We want to see people being taken to court over corruption cases. We want to see, we've seen a lot of wastage. The other day there was, I don't know if Bishop John will agree with me, but we saw a beautiful church is being built in State House, whereas I give uniforms to primary school students. A lot of our schools, our institutions, public institutions are suffering, while the government are placing priorities in the wrong places. Yeah.
I think let us go to Nyeri County, which on June 25th was actually an epicenter of demonstrations. We saw buildings there and businesses destroyed. Good morning, Clement Masombo. How is Nyeri County today, and what is different from what we witnessed on June 25th? Masombo.
Well, very good morning to you. Aseto in Nyeri County, Nyeri Town, to be very specific, we can report that there is a relative calm. But this is normally the situation when it comes to demonstrations in Nyeri. It usually starts as if nothing is going to happen. But then as the time goes, is when you normally experience changes here. We see crowds start gathering, and that's how things end up changing. But to speak for today, I can say that very little activities in this town. We have walked around and most businesses have closed. And as of Saturday and yesterday, Sunday, we saw most of the businesses here were reinforcing their main entrances. We are speaking of businesses like banking institutions, main shops here around Nyeri Town, and that's it was just part of the security measures to ensure that we do not experience what happened during the June 25th demonstrations. And most of the businesses also had announced that they will close. Today, we saw Naivas supermarket, which was looted previously, announcing that today it will not be operational. Other supermarkets as well have closed down. And when I was coming, I passed by the Nyeri Central Police Station. I saw a group of police officers being briefed by their seniors, perhaps on how they will approach the demonstrations today. But we can report that right now in Nyeri, it's very calm, nothing much is happening. And where we are right now is the Waiyaki Way in Nyeri Town. This was one of the main battlefields during last demonstrations. But as you can see, it's very clear. Vehicles just operating. Those are PSV vehicles. Roads have not been closed, unlike other towns. In Nyeri, everything seems to be flowing smoothly. But then I have also seen reports that a section of the Nairobi Meru Highway has been already blocked by demonstrators along areas of Kibingoti, that is just past Makutano as you come, as you head towards Nyeri. But maybe we are thinking that perhaps later in the day, those are some of the places that we will also be visiting. And when it comes to demonstrations in Nyeri, Karatina has always been the hotspot. So we will also be doing a spot check in Karatina to see how the situation is, and of course we will be updating our viewers in our subsequent bulletins. Aseto.
Joining us from Nyeri County, who is telling us that at the moment things are smooth, although businesses have closed, but that security officers are on ground ensuring that security is maintained early in the morning. Security officers are being briefed by their seniors on how to handle the demonstrations. There is mentioned about demonstrators who blocked the road at Ingoti near Makutano, but that a little bit later shall be making his way there, and also at Karatina, which has seen demonstrations take place in Nyeri County. We shall be touching base with him and our other reporters as we continue with these coverage. Bishop, we've seen statements that have been made by the political class that pretty much the young people should not hijack what is theirs, pretty much. We are the ones who started Saba Saba. Leave it unto us. If you want to demonstrate, go to Kamkunji where Saba Saba started. But if you look at the issues today, like it's a generational problem that is being pushed, does the political class, especially pretty much the political class, listen to the message being said? Do they have a case when they say that the young people should not hijack Saba Saba?
If a leader is going to be strong, the best thing he should do is to study change. You study change. Because whether you like it or not, everything is designed to change. Remember, we were born kids, and as you keep on growing, we begin to change. One of the best ways to look at it is the butterfly. It starts as an egg, it goes to the larva, it goes to the pupa, and then it finally appears as an adult. That's the way it is. It might be that Saba Saba started as an egg, then a generation took it as a larva, then another generation found it as a pupa, and then now this generation has found the full scope. Everything is designed to be inherited. I mean, if you die and everything that you stood for dies with you, you're a useless leader. So for a person to come and say that we are the ones that started, it's like Jesus Christ saying, I'm the one that started the gospel, so no one should inherit it. Everything starts to be inherited. So you cannot claim, like for example, I have 3 children. I've started something. My prayer is that they will inherit it, whether I'm gone or I'm still here. So everything is designed to be inherited. I think what they need to do is to study the political changes that are happening. I mean, you see people like, I hear my brother here speaking, because I've seen him. I know him to some degree, you know, giving the, the uniforms to kids. I mean, there was a generation of people at his age prior that would never even think about, I mean, kids are a government problem. If it's not my problem, they're not my kids. But then you begin to see people are rising up with different perspective and views. And so the perspective of saying that we are the ones that started something, then start and end it. But don't start and continue it, because you know one day you die. So what do you expect of it? So everything is designed to be inherited. And the more we study change, political change, national change, governmental change, religious change. Do you know how many few people, religious people that are, you know, they feel sad that I'm doing what I'm doing? It's not my first time. You know, we helped put the government in power when the government did not do according to the things it said. And I'm so shocked when people say, comparing this government with previous governments. You should compare this government with the future. You can't compare things with the past. Past cannot change. So we are not comparing this with what others did. We are comparing this with the future we are looking for. And if you don't do that, becomes a problem.
Strong words there. But I want us to go to Githurai, right? I remember the 25th of June this year. Githurai was another epicenter for demonstrations, especially along Thika Road. And that is where Davis Mberia is at. Good morning, Mberia. How is Githurai? Is business ongoing as usual? Are demonstrators gathering? How is security on ground, Mberia?
Good morning, Aseto. Yes, we are at Githurai roundabout, and here the business is it's going just like any other day. There is no actually police presence here. There is no roadblocks here. People are just doing their normal actually business. But I had a minute to talk to some of the residents here. They're telling me it is very early because when it reaches at around 11 or 12 there, it is when some of the small groups will start actually regrouping themselves for the protest, and most of them, they've not actually got that chance of coming out right now. But also the weather is one of the things that is actually causing this, because most of the people have remained indoors owing to the weather right now. Let me just speak to some of the people here. Of course, the motorbike operators. Thank you very much. Niambie tu jina yako bwana. Today we have the Saba Saba protest across the country. What is your sentiment about that? And as of course businessman here at Githurai, hii inakuaffect aje?
Mimi leo hakuna kazi. Sasa unajua sasa tunachangamuka yenye inapatikana tu, lakini kazi haiko vile venye inakuanga.
Kwako unahisi kwamba umepoteza kidogo senti?
Nimepoteza kidogo juu leo hakuna makastoma venye inafaa. Watu wengi hawajakuja soko. Hata wengine hawaendi kazi. Sasa leo tumepoteza kazi, tumepata kazi kidogo kidogo tu. Ndio sababu tuko hapa tunavumilia kidogo.
Tumeona there is roadblocks zenye zimekuwa along Thika Road, at actually GSU, at Ruiru, and of course near the KCA University. Kwako hii wateja wanafikaje kule ambako unawapeleka?
Huko tunafika salama, lakini hatupiti Roysapo juu hiyo roadblock yenye iko hapo. Ukibeba customer unamfikisha hapo, anashukia hapo. Hapo pengine anajipanga. Juu hata sisi huenda huko ni kuhatarisha maisha juu hiyo roadblock.
Thank you very much, Aseto. As you've heard, wanasema kwamba they are actually keeping it safe, and for their security measures, they have not been allowed actually to go past the roadblocks. Kaka, hujambo? Naona umetulia, biashara kama kawaida. Pengine siku ya leo wewe kama mwanabiashara umeathirika?
Nimeathirika, hakuna kazi.
Na hii maandamano hapa Githurai ni mahali ambako wengi husema kwamba maandamano yanaanzia. Leo mbona kumetulia hivi?
Ni kukosa tu venye watafanya.
Unahisi kwamba siku hii ya Saba Saba italeta pengine angalau that step that the government will see and maybe make the changes?
Inataka kubadilika.
Thank you very much. So Aseto, this is the situation here. Of course, people are calm. The residents here, they're saying we are a lot. Unataka kuzungumza? Njoo kaka. Aha, kaka, hujambo. Niambie tu jina yako, kisha leo siku ya Saba Saba, wewe kama kijana unaizungumziaje?
Niongea ama nisiongea?
Zungumza.
Mimi niko tu fiti, nataka tu maandamano ikiwa one term. Kazungu enda kuenda. Yaende akienanga.
Mbona mnaandamana?
Hii maandamano tuko nayo, hii ni heshima. Na tuandamane, maandamano tu, lakini pressure yenyewe tuko nayo, tuko na maandamano ya Kasongo asonga kusonga. Juu tukiangalia tu unga iko juu. Yani maisha iko juu. Alafu tena anaenda kujenga tu kanisa na tukojaa. State House. Anaenda kujenga tu State House. Aje.
Pengine utazungumziaje biashara hapa? Wewe ni mwanabiashara, umeweza kufanya biashara ama bado?
Saa mimi nauzanga tu kwa soko. Mimi niko hapa kwa soko. Soko iko chini. Sawa. Ukiangalia barabara, tukiingia tu kwa masoko tu hapa, iko chini.
Thank you very much, kaka. Naona kidogo uko sawa, very charged for the day. Just tell us your name and of course, what is your take in today's Saba Saba protest?
Mimi naitwa Sami Maalim. Mimi ni mkaaji hapa Githurai. Bahati yenyewe huyu mjamaa yenyewe ametukosea sana. Huyu mzee huyu anaitwa Kasongo hapa hivi. Huyu mjamaa hakuna kitu anasaidia. Ndio maana si kama vijana tunasema aje ni one time. Aende akalime kuku. Acha sisi tuuze mandazi hapa Githu.
Pengine maafisa wa polisi wamefika hapa, mmeweza kuwaona pengine?
Naona kwa hadi saa hii, wacha nikuambia, hadi saa hii ukienda hadi hapa hivi washafunga marodi, vitu hazifiki hapa hivi kwa soko, hadi tunashindwa sasa tutafanya kama emergency. Hakuna kitu tunaweza fanya. Yenyewe vitu kitokea hapa hivi, hata saa hii unaona vile tumetokea si wengi. Hakuna kitu tunafanya. Hadi sisi tumemuongoja hivi. Sisi tunasema aje kama emergency ni one time. Umse aende akalime kuku.
Most of the times, Githurai is one of the, of course, hot areas when it comes to the protest.
And there are sentiments being raised by residents of Githurai. The majority of them saying businesses is low. Roadblocks is making them not be able to ply their normal routes, as well as unemployment is a key matter that is being raised by many. Now, Kilibos is along Waiyaki Way. Waiyaki Way is an important road, A104, which sees long-distance travelers and also those who are traveling from that part of the country come to Nairobi. Kilibos, what's the situation along Waiyaki Way?
Hasa ukiwa mbali hata picha ni white. Bora sio blue.
He is engaging with the locals there, and A104 road, that is the Nairobi Meru Highway, is one that sees long-distance travelers as well as those who are traveling back to the country, back to the city, I beg your pardon, get in, but Roadblocks as well has seen many suffer from several inconveniences. Good morning, Kilibos. What's the situation from where you are? Those are live pictures coming from Waiyaki Way. As you can see, those are buses coming from the areas that is from the western part of the country, that is all the way from Malaba border and also the Isibania border. That would be the road from Migori as well as the one from Malaba, the western part of the country, and Kenyans coming back from those areas into the city. Good morning, Kilibos. I see a lot of buses are parked on the road. Why is that the case? And for those who are not able to access the CBD due to that roadblock, what are they doing? Yeah, we shall be touching base with Kilibos a little bit later, but as you can see, those are buses that are parked along Waiyaki Way, Kenyans coming back to the city, and it is an inconvenience that many had not seen coming. Billion. Now, we've talked about the matter at hand, the communications that are being held, and if you look at it, you look at a situation where businesses have literally closed. The city is losing, the country pretty much is closing billions of shillings simply because of these demos. And I just want to ask the question, from where you sit, is it that the government, the police are unable to provide security to peaceful protesters and to the businesses across the country?
First of all, let me tell you an interesting story. You'd be surprised, number one, you've seen a lot of young people don't even connect with the Saba Saba. And even after what happened last time, I think there are a lot of people, after we saw the people losing businesses, the last demonstration was ugly. I was not expecting a much bigger demonstration compared to the last one. And sometimes the government, the fears of the government has made this Saba Saba Day be what it is today. If they just let it happen, you'd see a few people demonstrating here and there, but I didn't expect it to be of this magnitude, because even if you look at, usually there's a build-up on social media. There wasn't that much build-up on social media. And going back to, because I ran on a UDA ticket, and why I vied on the UDA ticket in Mathare parliamentary seat was because of the hustler narrative. Today, as we speak, it's the hustlers are being hurt more. It's the hustlers that we've been talking to, the reporters have been speaking to, trying to share their frustrations, trying to say, we were so hopeful that things will be different. We are still hopeful that things will be different, but every time, as time passes, we are seeing things happening differently. So there's it's called the fear of the unknown. Yeah, there's a lot of fear of the unknown that is happening within the government or the political circles, because usually it's the politician who spearhead some of these conversations. It's the politicians who lead these demonstrations, take credit for this demonstration. But we're at a point where the church community, different sectors, the middle class, whom for the longest time we've always thought they are not interested in politics, have become part of this movement. And, Saba Saba is just a day. Tomorrow is also still another day. What happens in this country is we'll always look for a unifying issue. People will still go to the streets. We look for a unifying issue. We will all rally around the unifying issue. So it's high time that the government looks into a lasting solution, the way I said, because you will block people today. We'll sit down, rethink, have another burning issue, and then rally around it.
Rally around it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll come to you, Bishop, to just follow up on the church and what is happening today. But I want us to go to Kakamega County, where Alan Ochanda is at. Good morning, Alan Ochanda. How is Kakamega this morning? Any signs of demonstrations? How is security, and what are the locals saying, Ochanda?
Well, Dennis, it's actually been quite calm since morning, but we can see police and security apparatus really sitting at vantage positions. You can see on your screens the borders are actually shielding them, but the security apparatus actually just sitting at vantage positions in the town here in Kakamega, in all major roundabouts, to ensure that there's actually control inflow of persons, because of course they normally in the past we've seen during demonstrations and protests, we've seen protesters really coming into town in small numbers. And so today, during the 35th celebrations of Saba Saba, remember that of course this actually was the clamor for multi-party democracy, and of course it was achieved since 1990 during the one-party era, but after the Saba Saba clamor, we saw the birth of several political parties. And so today, we've seen in the past years, we've seen the opposition really commemorating that particular celebration. But today we've seen now the protest by Gen Zs have actually caused sort of jitters. And so to just take that abundance of caution, we've seen the security apparatus really ensuring that there's actually control movement of people to and from the town here. But let's just talk to some of the residents of Kakamega here. Ndugu, maybe just tell us your name. Kama unatoka Kakamega, and today is actually Saba Saba. But you can see there's actually control the movement of people. Zile barabara kuu, kuna polisi wamesimama pale wakiweza pengine kuhakikisha kwamba waandamanaji hawafiki huko. Pengine maoni yako ni pengine unachukuliaje polisi kuwa pale na kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba wanadhibiti watu kuweza kuingia na kutoka kwenye mji?
Kwanza kwa majina, mimi naitwa Stanley Mbiaha, mimi ni mkazi wa hapa Kakamega kutoka Shikomari. Na ukiingia Kakamega saa hii ukiona nyuma yangu kuna maskari wamefunga barabara. Na hii maskari kukua hapa, jambo la kwanza ni kuchochea furugu, kwa sababu siku ya maandamano ya Saba Saba ilikuwa ni kusherekea mfumo wa vyama mingi. Lakini sasa saa hii Saba Saba imekosa mwelekeo, kwa sababu maskari vile wako hapa hivi wanajiandaa kwanza kuleta furugu. Vijana wa bodaboda wetu ndio hawa wamekuja kufanya biashara, lakini hakuna vile watafanya biashara. Sasa sijui watafanya namna gani. Town ya Kakamega imefungwa, maduka yote imefungwa. Sasa hatujui maana ya Saba Saba ni nini.
Lakini pengine watu wanahofu kwamba Saba Saba ndio ulikuwa pengine mchakato wa kuweza kuhakikisha kuna vyama vingi, lakini siku za hivi karibuni umeona siku yote ambapo kuna lile joto la maandamano, wale ambao ni wahuni wanachukulia na kuweza kuteka nyara na kuanza pengine kufanya wizi, na ndio maana pengine maduka yameanza kufungwa. Ukitizama pale nyuma unatizama kwamba maduka yameweza kufungwa kwa sababu duka kama lile, unakumbuka juma jana waliweza kupora mali pale na polisi wameweza kufika hapa kutoa usalama. Nyinyi kama wakazi pengine wana balance namna gani, serikali ama pengine kulinda mali ya raia ama kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba wanaweza kucelebrate ile Saba Saba?
Kuzuia hii maovu mingi, siku ambayo tumepanga maandamano kufanya, wahuni wanaingilia kuja kuleta vurugu. Si hata wananchi, ni wahuni ndio wanakuja kuharibu maandamano. Juzi tumekuwa na maandamano tarehe 25, wahuni ndio walivunja maofisi mingi hapa Kakamega na maduka na kupora mali ya watu. Kwa hivyo sisi tunasema ya kwamba serikali itafute suluhu, watafute njia ya kukaa na viongozi wa upinzani na wananchi kwa ujumla, tupate suluhu ya kuendesha nchi yetu.
Sawa sawa. Asante sana. Tunaweza pia kutoa dakika nyingine kwa mkazi hapo, tueleze jina lako, unatokea wapi, na tunaona kwamba celebrations of to mark Saba Saba celebrations, which was actually first done in 1990. Now 35 years on, tuna miaka hii yote wamekuwa kiweza kuadhimisha kila tarehe 7 mwezi wa 7 wamekuwa kiweza kuadhimisha. Ile mwaka huu inaonekana mambo ni tofauti. Kulingana na wewe, ulikuwepo pengine mwaka wa 1990, na kama hii miaka yote wamekuwa kiweza kuadhimisha kwa amani, mbona hii leo tuweze kuona pengine polisi wameweza kufika mitaani na kuweza kuwazuia ama kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba wanadhibiti wale watu kuingia na kutoka mjini?
Kwa majina naitwa Salim Juma, mimi ni mkazi wa Kakamega. Sisi tumeamka asubuhi kama kawaida kuja town kibarua, lakini wenye tunaona sasa ni ngumu sana. Sisi tunajua Saba Saba tuna celebrate, hatukuji maandamano, lakini saa hii town yote imefungwa, kazi zime shut down kabisa. Hatuwezi fanya kazi, hata askari saa hii wamejaa kila mahali. Na hao ndio wanaleta tension mpaka watu wanafeel kuandamana. Damu ya kuandamana inakuja kwa roho yao. Mimi ningesema kama ni kuandamana, ikuwe maandamano ya amani, watu wasivunje vitu za watu, wafanyabiashara waendelee na kazi zao.
Wewe pengine unatokea sekta gani na pengine sekta yako imeweza kuathirika?
Mimi nafanya na sekta ya usafiri. Usafiri, gari zote zimefunga kazi kwa sababu wanaogopa gari zinaweza chomwa. Sasa hatuna kazi mpaka saa hii, hakuna gari zinaingia na hakuna gari zinatoka.
Kwa hivyo mmefunga kwa sababu ya hofu ya maandamano?
Tumefunga kwa sababu ya hofu ya maandamano, na vijana wakiandamana huwa inatuletea shida kwa sekta yetu ya usafiri. Yes.
Sawa, asante. Pengine tuweze kupata mwingine hapo. Tueleze jina, umetokea sekta gani na imeweza kuathirika ama namna gani, na pengine polisi kuweza kufika mitaani siku kama hii ya maadhimisho ya Saba Saba, kulingana na wewe unachukuliaje?
Mi kwa majina naitwa Asman Juma. Kwa maandamano ya Saba Saba hii yenye imeonekana town, polisi wamejaa town sana. Hata sisi, mimi ni mtu wa matatu, nafanya sekta ya matatu, na magari zimefunga kazi pia, abiria hawaonekani, maduka zimefungwa. Sasa inaonekana leo mtu mwenye amekuja town kutafuta riziki atarudi kwa nyumba bila kupata kitu chochote, juu town yote polisi wamejaa, hakuna mahali mtu anaweza fanyia kazi.
Na polisi kuweza kufika mtaani unachukuliaje?
Polisi kuweza kufika mtaani ndio wenye wanafanya vitu ziande kuharibika town, vijana waande kusumbua juu kila polisi ameshika rungu wenye wako town hapa. Sasa wakishakuja town hapa, hao ndio wanafanya vijana wanaanza kusumbua town hapa, vijana wanaanza kulinga mawe na kuiba vitu za watu.
Ndugu, nikuulize, umesema kwamba mna hofu kutakuwa na maandamano na uporaji, ndio maana pengine sekta yenu imeweza kuathirika. Polisi wakija pengine kuweza kuhakikisha usalama, mnasema pengine wameweza kuhitilafiana na operation zenu. Pengine mweze kutueleza kwa kina, kwa sababu unajua pengine hao wameweza kufika kuhakikisha kuna usalama, pasije pakarudiwa na wizi ulioshuhudiwa juma jana, ila nyinyi kwa mkono mwingine mmeweza pia kufunga biashara zenu msije mkaibiwa.
Sisi kufunga biashara zetu, tunaweza funga biashara tusiibiwe, lakini sasa tuwezi funga biashara tuende kwa manyumba na polisi wako town. Hapa polisi ndio wenye wanaleta shida town hapa. Hakuna vile polisi watakuwa town na watu wamefunga mabiashara zao wameenda. Hapa polisi wakikuwa town hapa ndio shida na kuanga town hapa.
Asante sana, asante. Pengine tuweze kupata mwingine, utueleze jina lako, umetokea sekta ipi, na nyinyi kama wakazi wa Kakamega, how do you feel that this is actually the 35th celebrations, commemorations of Saba Saba, the clamor for multi-party, it actually achieved its objective of having the multiple political parties in the country. And of course, the first party during that time was actually Ford. So we've seen the birth of several parties in the country. But you've seen in the yesteryears, we've seen celebrations of Saba Saba to commemorate celebrations of Saba Saba. But this year's is a bit unique. According to you as a resident of Kakamega, how do you take it that this year's celebrations have now turned these jitters of some people hijacking it into protests and maybe turning ugly like it was witnessed last week and the yesterday?
Thank you. My name is Zoyan Msoma. I'm a resident of Kakamega County. First, I want to say I'm so much confused, so much sad, because this has always been our day as politicians. And we have always urged all parties, if you have registered any party in this country, this is a day that you're supposed to celebrate, including the government party, because this is the time that Baba Raila Amolo Odinga and others, the likes of Kitangela, fought for this day. And I felt this is a day that we should have cakes all over this country in 47 counties, celebrating this day, because this is a day that multipartyism was born. So I feel so bad as a resident that we've been cut out. We're having a lot of security personnel in town, making people to even get scared for nothing. So I feel so bad as a resident that this day is just gone to waste in Kakamega. But if I had a chance, this is a day that we should have a procession all over this town to Muliro Garden. Talk it out, what we feel this government should do for the people of this country. It's not a matter of throwing stones and tear gas all over. This is a day that we should have a procession of all parties, including the government party, which is UDA, in this town.
That aside, the tension aside, in terms of political party democracy in the space, how is it?
I think...
are you people maybe enjoying the existence of multiple political parties in the country? Are you enjoying, or maybe there's a sort of a shrinking space?
My brother, there's a lot of confusion. First and foremost, I think the constitution also brought a lot of confusion in the matter of parties, because in the House, we used to have different parties represented. But right now, we are only having minority and majority. It's bringing a lot of confusion. But so far, I think we've not achieved the democracy that we wanted in this country. And that's why a day like this one is the day that we should have a chance to speak it out. Because when parties come together, for or against the government, we should have parties that have independent minds to speak for the people. Because right now, there are parties that are there, that have joined together, just cluelessness. They're speaking nothing that can represent the people of this country. We have parties that are in the government that are also quiet about what is happening. So we have not had the democracy that we wanted in this country so far.
Nice. Thanks so much. Maybe because of time, we shall be linking up later, because we have a packed day for you, the residents of Kakamega here. But listening into the residents of Kakamega here is that there's actually that delicate balancing. Most of them are coming from different sectors, be it transport, shopkeepers, and just small business operators here. They have closed their businesses. But on the other, of course, they have closed because of the fear of the unknown that what transpired last week of looting and wanton destruction of property might recur. But on the other hand, they're actually faulting police, the heavy deployment of police in the vantage positions here, because of, you can actually see those lorries actually shielding the police, but they've actually been heavily deployed. Up there, of course, on the main Kakamega Kisumu Highway, we've seen heavy deployment of police. Muliro Garden has been sealed off. Only passers-by can access in and out, but there's no activities inside the Muliro Garden. So there's quite a delicate balancing act here on a Monday morning, where businesses must be running here so that the economy of this particular area can really move forward. But on the other side, some of them are actually saying that yes, we are commemorating Saba Saba, where in 1990, that's also actually the clamor for multi-party. It was achieved, but there's little to celebrate about the existence of multi-party, because the space is shrinking and some parties are actually now going in bed with each other and just maybe defiling the very foundation that our multi-party was actually founded on. But let's listen in to Bramwell Bwire, my colleague Bramwell Bwire, who is actually in Kissi, to just paint to us the real picture on ground. Bramwell.
Well, good morning, Alan. And as you've indicated, yes, today we're here in Kissi Town, one of the regions that was heavily affected by last week's Gen Z protests. We saw a lot of destruction of property. We saw the businesses in this town totally being shut down. Today, we are at the Capital Roundabout, and this is where any demonstration, any form of demonstrations starts from this particular point. We are seeing heavy deployment of security officers, all of them donning the anti-riot gears. We're talking about a number of police officers who are manning this particular point, and as we are coming into the CBD, we could also see heavy deployment of police officers at strategic points. We're talking about the Rubis police station on that Kissi University Highway. That is another point that we witness a lot of distraction and a lot of unrest and running battles between the police officers and the Gen Zs who are protesting. Of course, when they were commemorating the 60 lives of Gen Zs who died the other year. But today here we can confirm pretty that, of course, early morning we've seen some groupings of youths who have turned up already. They were singing and just running around, but the police officer who came here have dispersed them just to ensure that normalcy returns in this particular point. But we can confirm that all the businesses in Kissi Town have been shut down. We're talking about the Mpesa shops. We're talking about the supermarkets that were heavily disrupted last week when the demos were in this particular city, in this particular town. The Shivling supermarket lost everything that was being sold in that supermarket. But today we can see that there is a lot of caution from the business community that has blocked and that has stopped each and every operation that was happening in this town. But allow me also to speak to some of the border residents who are here, and they have been running around their errands despite the heavy deployment of police officers. Labda nikueleze, utuambie wewe unaitwa nani? Leo asubuhi ndo vijana wamejaa katika mji huu, biashara zimefungika, maafisa wa polisi vile wamekuja. Wewe kama mfanyi biashara wa bodaboda, unachukuliaje swala hili, mchecheto ambao upo katikati ya maafisa wa polisi na waandamanaji?
Kwangu kibinafsi mimi nimeamka kawaida kukuja kazi. Nimepata askari kwa hapa kwa round. Lakini mimi kitu naweza ambia kwa Wakenya wenye wanaandamana au agency, wakiandamana wasipole mali ya watu, waandamane na roho safi, wasiharibu vitu ya watu wengine. Hiyo ndio kitu nasema.
Labda nyinyi mumeathirika vipi na huu mchecheto ambao unaendelea, maafisa wa polisi pamoja na vijana ambao wanajitokeza?
Enyewe kwangu kibinafsi mimi kazi hakuna wateja. Maduka ukiangalia hapa Kissi Town watu wamefunga. Hakuna mwenye unapepa. Sasa hata mimi nimezunguka huko Daraja Mbili market, nimepata hakuna biashara inaendelea huko. Enyewe imeharibu uchumi.
Niongee na vile kijana yuko hapa, utatuambia wewe unaitwa nani? Tunakuona umekuja leo mjini. Mbona umekuja mjini na tunaona kuna maafisa wa polisi pamoja na vijana wanajitokeza kujaribu kuingia mjini na wanazuiliwa?
Kwa majina naitwa Wilson Mongare, mimi ni mkazi wa hapa Kisii. Nimekuja hapa shughuli kidogo, niangalie town iko aje. Lakini nimekutana na askari wamejaa. Kwa hakika lakini tutaona venye siku itakuwa, tuone siku itakuwa aje. Naam.
Asante. Labda niseme na mwingine. Wiki jana tumeshuhudia vijana walikuja hapa na wakakuwa na machafuko. Maafisa wa polisi wakakuja wakajaribu kutuliza vitu, lakini mambo hayakuweza kutulizwa na kakuwa ni machafuko siku nzima. Leo maafisa wa polisi wamejitokeza. Wamekuja tu kuhakikisha kwamba labda usalama upo, biashara zinaendelea. Vijana wanasema kwamba maafisa wa polisi hawafai kuwepo. Mbona mnakuwa na tofauti kidogo na hilo?
Kwa majina naitwa Elisha. Kitu ya kwanza ni hao polisi hawakuja hapa kuleta hiyo peace. Wanakuja hapa, ukisikia kesi zao hata wanakuja kutuua, hawakuja kudumisha amani. Hiyo ndio kitu ya kwanza. Sasa hizi kuna uadui kati yetu na wao. Hata tukiwaona hivi, atufikirie sasa ni watu, si tena watu wa security au ni kama adui yetu sasa. Juu hakuna kitu, hawakuja kutusaidia, hawakuja kutulinda, hawalindi duka, wanakuja kutuua sisi. Juu wanatuua na duka inaibiwa. Sasa kazi yao ni nini hapa?
Labda acha tuzungumze vile na huyu, utuambie wewe unaitwa nani, umekuja hapa mjini kufanya nini, na labda shughuli zinaonekana kusimama, shughuli zinakaa kuathirika kabisa kutokana na ule mchecheto wa maandamano ya Sabasaba. Wewe unachukuliaje? Shughuli zako zimeathirika na labda ulikuwa umekuja kufanya nini jijini?
Kwa mimi nimekuja tu kushuhudia because nimeenda kuangalia nchi yetu, nimeona nchi yetu imeharibika. Kama siku ya leo nimeona uchumi ukiharibika, biashara mingi imeharibika kwa Wakenya, wanalia. Lakini mimi naomba tu wenzangu, kama ni maandamano tufanye maandamano ya amani, kama hakuna maandamano tuende nyumbani tutulie. Alafu naomba wana biashara, hata kama siku ya leo siku moja eumizi mtu, umeona? Wana biashara wafunge biashara yao, wani nyumbani wapumzike. Alafu sisi hatuna maneno. Sisi tuko na amani, tumekuja kudumisha amani, tumekuja kutetea Kenya yetu. Sisi kama agency, kwa sababu wenye wako mbele yetu wanaenda. Sisi sana tutakuwa kama wazazi kwa nyumbani mwetu. Sasa tunaomba tupate tu amani. Hata kile mali mingi. Hii ujumi naye yenyewe iko juu sana. Hata nyinyi mnaona tunalalamika juu ya ujumi. Lakini naomba tu huyu mtu anaitwa William Samoei Ruto atusaidie. Tafadhali uchumi umekuwa juu. Vijana sisi tunalia, wenzetu tunalia sana. Naomba tu tusaidie hii ujumi fanya nini ikaweze kushuka kama agency. Naona tu kesho ati sukari imepanda, unga imepanda, vitu zinapanda. Umeona sasa ni vita tu. Si hatutaki vita. Sisi tunataka maandamano ya amani, tuandamane kwa amani. Tufanye nini? Ndio uchumi ikuwe sawa.
Labda usogee hapa niseme nawe kabla tujamaliza. Maandamano ya Sabasaba yamekuwepo kila mwaka. Vijana wamekuwa wakijitokeza kuadhimisha siku kama hii ya leo. Lakini leo kuna utofauti kidogo. Maafisa wa polisi wanaonekana kuongezeka, vijana wanaonekana kujitokeza kwa fujo sana. Mbona kuna utofauti wa maandamano ya mwaka huu na maandamano ambayo yamekuwa yakishuhudiwa miaka zingine?
Kwa kuona kwangu, okay, with my observation, what I can say is that with the Sabasaba, actually haimaanishi siku ya maandamano. Mwanzoni ama nini hapo awali Sabasaba ilikuwa siku ya kukumbusha wale ambao walipigania uhuru wa nchi, wale ambao walioa kiolela. Lakini tofauti ya leo naona kwamba kuna huyu mtu anaitwa Raila Amolo Odinga. Yeye pia alikuwa ametangaza ile mkutano yake Kamkunji. Aswa tunaona mapolisi pia wameletwa kwa street. I think people are very angry with the current governance. The current government must think of something. They have to do something because now situation kila mtu amekasirika. Tunaona hao mapolisi wameletwa kwa street. We are asking ourselves hao watu wamekuja kudumisha amani ama walikuja kuchochea ili watu wakasirike zaidi. Kwa upande wa wananchi mkiona kitu ikielekea, there is something coming good for you, so you have to fight for your right. Then advice to watu wenye wanafanya biashara, ili isiwe ya kwamba unakuja kulia baadaye jioni kwa biashara yako imeporwa ama nini. Ukiona siku ya leo wewe funga biashara yako, isiwe kwa unaenda kupata hasara kama maandamano imeisha. Then last but not least, Gen Z, let us come out, fight for your right. Hata kama tunaona kuna change itakuja huko mbele. Yeah.
Thank you. Some sentiments from young people who are here. They have already converged at this particular point just to ensure that they can, despite the heavy deployment of security officers, they can come out and ensure their voice are heard. As I was telling you that already there is a number of young people. Initially they had been dispersed from this particular point, but you can confirm that they are already now meeting up in high numbers. There is an officer there who's just trying to talk to the youths here and tell them, this is Saba Saba. Hey, young men, look here, this is Saba Saba. There is no need of us going out there to fight and destroy property. And he's just trying to urge them they're just trying to talk to them and ensure that the young men can come out, they can demonstrate, yes, but ensure it is done in a peaceful way. But of course, this is exactly the situation. Nothing so far to worry about. Despite the heavy deployment of police officers, business have already been shut. But of course, you're here just trying to see if this situation will change. And in any case, it changes in our subsequent bulletins. Of course, we'll be coming back to our viewers to paint the exact situation that is in Kissi Town. This is totally a contrast of what was witnessed here last week on Wednesday. But anytime, any day, in a political scenario, in a political atmosphere like the one we are in, anything can happen any moment, anytime. But of course, from now, I also want us to hear from my colleague, Gashuhi, who is in Nakuru. Gashuhi, if you can hear me, over to you.
Thank you very much, Bwire. Indeed, here in Nakuru City, the situation is very much alike with wherever you are, Bwire. Here we have the business community camping outside their businesses instead of inside their businesses waiting for clients because of the uncertainty that has been seen following the plans to have protests maybe later in the day. At the moment, we have very heavy police presence. We have anti-riot police at various strategic locations ensuring that everything is going on smoothly. And with me here are some of the business persons. Pengine tukianza na jina lako, utueleze pengine hii siku imewaadhiri vipi kibiashara?
Kwa majina naitwa Yusuf Mohamed Haji. Mimi ni mfanyabiashara hapa Nakuru, na kweli kabisa siku ya leo tumepata madhara kubwa kabisa kwa sababu leo mji wa Nakuru imekuwa ni kama holiday. Wateja wako, wafanyabiashara wako na uoga. Hata ukiangalia maduka mingi zimefungwa. Sisi hata kuliko kukaa ndani ya duka, tuko nje ndio tunaongojea wateja wetu. Wengi hata wale wateja mbalimbali wanatupigia simu, tunaambia bado mambo hayajakuwa mzuri. Kwa hivyo askari pia ni wengi, na tunashukuru serikali vile imeweka ulinzi hali ya juu kabisa. Ile maandamano mengine ya last month ya tarehe 25 hapa Nakuru ilikuwa ni shida sana. Maduka zetu zilivunjwa, tukaibiwa, na hata wafanyabiashara wengine saizi hawana chochote, na ilituadhiri kabisa. Ndio maana siku ya leo tumeogopa, tumekuwa na hofu, biashara zetu tumefunga, town hakuna watu, ni maaskari tu wamejaa. Kwa hivyo tunaomba serikali tusaidie kabisa kupambana na hii hali ngumu, kwa sababu nafikiria sisi pia tunachangia sana economy ya Kenya. Kama wafanyi biashara ndogo ndogo, pia sisi tunachangia uchumi ya Kenya, na hii biashara yetu ndio tunategemea kulisha naye watoto wetu na kusomesha naye watoto wetu, na mambo zetu pia tunategemea biashara yetu. Kwa hivyo ningependa kuomba serikali iweze kulinda kabisa biashara zetu, kwa sababu biashara zetu zimekuwa zikivamiwa na tunaogopa. Vile vile tunaomba serikali iweze kuongea na agency ili tujue shida iko wapi.
Na pengine naona kuna baadhi ya wanabiashara ambao wameamua tu kujilinda. Ni hatua gani imefanya mchukue hii hatua ya kujilinda ilhali bado tunaona kuna maafisa wa polisi?
Unajua tuliogopa vile ile maandamano mengine ya tarehe 25 mwezi wa 6 biashara zetu zilivunjwa. Sasa hizi wafanyabiashara wameamua tukuje tukae tuchunge maduka zetu isivunjwe, kwa sababu tukivunjwa tu hizi mabiashara yetu mingi ni loan. Tumechukua loan, sasa ikivunjwa tunakosa kitu ya kulipa ile loan, tunadaiwa, shule tunadaiwa, tunakuwa na shida mingi sana.
Asante sana. Niweze kuzungumza na kaka hapa. Tueleze jina lako na pengine siku ya leo, pengine maandamano ama hali imewaadhiri vipi siku ya leo?
Kwa jina langu naitwa Gibson, wengi unifahamu kama Kibonge. Lakini kwa siku ya leo tumeweza kuadhirika sana, maana biashara mingi zimefungwa. Hata mimi ninapofanya kazi katika duka hili leo limefungwa kwa sababu ile maandamano ilikuwa tarehe 25 ambao tulianza kuvamiwa sana, hata mimi mmoja kuadhiriwa, maana niweza kupata hapa guns wakijaribu kukata, lakini niliweza kuprotect ambao hawakuweza kufaulu kuiba. Na sasa siku ya leo tumesema haina haja sisi tukae nyumbani tutegemea askari, maana hata askari wanapokuwa na gunzi wakuwe, askari wanapotoka tu kidogo gunzi wanaingia, wanafanya shughuli zao, wanaelekea. Ndipo unaona hata watu wala wanaandamana kwa haki, hawaandamani area ya biashara na waadhuru biashara yoyote. Lakini sasa gunzi wanapoingilia kwa hiyo maandamano ndio inazidi kuwa mbaya, maana askari nao wanaenda kutawanyisha waandamanaji, hawaangalii pande ya magunzi. Na sasa leo tukasema sisi wenyewe kama biashara wadogo wadogo tutachukua hatua kwa mikono yetu. Na mimi jambo moja naomba vijana, wakati vijana tunaposema Ruto must go, Ruto must go, tunajua ndio hali ya uchumi imerudi chini mpaka nchi kwenye iko saizi si mahali pazuri. Mimi ile kitu ningependa tu kuomba vijana wenzangu, maana mimi ni kijana, sisi wote tujitoeshe kwa wingi, tuchukue ID na tuchukue kura, ndio ili tutakapoenda hata pale kwenye ballot kupiga chaguo yetu, kutafuta kuangalia chaguo, tuchague chaguo sahihi yenye tunajua hii tukiweka itatusaidia nchi. Na ingine ningependa kuwaeleza rais wetu, anapoona jambo kama hili maandamano kila kona, anashinda kila wakati kwa vyombo vya habari akisema upinzani ina fund maandamano, upinzani na fund maandamano. Na tunapotazama kama county tuko nazo county 47. Tukiangalia kama maandamano ya tarehe 25 mwezi ulipita kulikuwa maandamano county 37. Kaunti 10 peke yake ndio tuliona haikuweza kuandamana. Kama anatuambia ni aliyekuwa naibu wa rais Rigathi Gachagua ndiye anafund hiyo maandamano, basi inatuonyesha kwamba Rigathi ana nguvu kumshinda. Na sisi tunamwambia kama yeye anajua yeye mkalia serikali pale na anajua chenye nafaa uongozi venye uongozi inafaa, afai kulaumu aliyekuwa naibu wa rais, anafaa kutuambia ninaweka security ya kutosha. Ingine ni kwa Kipchumba Murkomen, huyo ambaye ni waziri wa usalama. Anapoambia askari unapoona mtu anakaribia polisi hiyo sio matamshi ya kiongozi, maana kiongozi anafaa kuwa na hekima ndani yake. Na anapokuwa na hekima anaambia polisi, anafaa kujua polisi linda mwananchi wa taifa ya Kenya. Kwa ile kazi amepewa ni ya kuambia askari linda mwananchi wa taifa la Kenya. Lakini anaposema shoot to kill, hiyo ni jambo lingine mbaya sana, maana tumekuwa na CS wa security, tumekuwa na Matiang'i, tumekuwa na John Michuki, tumekuwa na Mirugi Kariuki, wote tujawahi ona akichukua hatua kama hiyo mbaya ya Murkomen. Na mimi ningependa kumwambia kama anajua sema shoot to kill, angeenda kwanza azime ile ugomvi tunaona pande za Baringo Marakwet ya wizi wa ng'ombe. Kama angezima hiyo wizi wa ng'ombe huko, aujua ambie askari shoot to kill, unaua mwizi, tungekuwa tumekubaliana yeye amefanya kazi.
Sasa, asante, shukran sana. Those are the views of some of the Nakuru residents here, and the business community is very apprehensive of what may turn up to happen later in the day. As at this moment, the businesses have been disrupted. Most of the traders have closed their shops. Public transport has also been affected, with most of the matatus keeping away from the main terminus, with only a handful of travelers. But as of now, we are still seeing the police in their numbers patrolling along the streets of Nakuru. So, and this is something that we are still keeping an eye on. And for now, we shift to Waiyaki Way and show our viewers what exactly is happening in Waiyaki Way. Over to you.
Oh, thank you so much. That's my colleague from Nakuru, who is just giving us updates on what's going on in Nakuru. But right now I'm on Waiyaki Way, somewhere around Kabati National Polytechnic. And the picture that you're seeing just behind me is of buses that use the A104, which is Waiyaki Way, to, lead passengers outside of Nairobi towards the likes of Western, Nyanza, and most importantly, A104, has access to Kampala, Uganda. I've been here for the past 1 hour. It was raining chilly, around 13 degrees. I've talked to some of the passengers in the buses, and some of them are even Ugandans who are trying to, transit through Nairobi and go their way to whatever place they are going. And that's how important A104 is. And they cannot access that. That's why buses have been stopped here. They have lined up a whole around maybe 40 buses from Kabete police station down to the Polytechnic around here. And same situation when you go down this Waiyaki Way, when you want to access town around Sarit Center, there is a big barricade there by police and anti-riot police stopping guys to access Westlands, Westlands and Nairobi town. So it starts in Waiyaki Way and goes down to Westlands around Sarit Center. But right about now I have a driver here who drives Great Shift coach. I've talked to him since morning. He's been with me since the rain was coming down, and it's cold. But habari yako?
Salama sana.
Yeah. Ulijipata hapa saa ngapi? Especially naona basi yako iko nyuma ya basi mingi kabisa.
Mimi nilifika hapa mida saa 10:30 asubuhi. Nilikuwa natoka Eldoret nikileta abiria wangu Nairobi. Ndio.
So ulirudishwa ama na abiria wako wapi?
Vile tulifika pale Kangemi, tulipata hiyo barricade ya polisi na tukaelekezwa na polisi tuegeze magari kando, abiria wote washukie hapo. Na ndipoza wakatuambia tutafute mahali tutaweka magari yetu.
So wewe unafanya round ya ungefaa kuingia town alafu uchukue wengine urudi?
No, mimi nilifaa kuingia town hiyo masaa saa 10:30 hapo, alafu niende zangu nikapumzike ili niwe tayari kwa safari nyingine ya usiku wa leo.
Ndio.
So hii ina affect aje biashara?
Ina affect biashara sana kwa sababu sasa usiku wa leo hatutaweza kwenda kazi tena. Ndio. Ya, kwa sababu sasa tuko hapa, hatujui pia abiria jioni hawataweza kufika kwenye vituo vyetu ili waje kuabiri magari kwa safari za leo usiku. Ndio.
Yeah, that is one of the drivers who is driving the Great Shift coach that carries passengers to Eldoret. I've been talking to some of the passengers who have left, and some of them are back in the buses. Again, this is A104 that allows access to Uganda, but on the way, A104 also allows access to Naivasha, Nakuru, Eldoret, and the western region like Bungoma and stuff like those. So it's a very important road. But where it starts is Nairobi. So if you are not allowed access in Nairobi, there is no way you are picking up passengers to, take them back to wherever you're supposed to go. And some of these passengers are on transit, so they are using Nairobi to head to Mombasa or any other place. But I'll talk to another guy here. Introduce uniambie we ni nani?
Okay, by the names I'm Abdallah Nono, and I'm a driver driving one of these buses that are now parked here.
Yeah. Yes. What time did you arrive in Nairobi?
I arrived here at around, it was 3. Yes.
Where were you, turned around?
I was turned around because I was not allowed to get to the CBD. Yeah, because my vehicle usually picks passengers at country bus. But when we reached here at around that time, we found the police had barricaded the roads, we could not pass, and they turned us. And then this is the only place we found that it is safe, because we didn't know whether we could park along the road, because we didn't know what would happen after the Mandamano. Yeah, so we felt that this is the most suitable place. It is safe because Kabete police station just next to us here. So that's the reason why everybody has parked here. Yeah.
So you're parking here right now, but typically nini ingefanyika? What would have happened if it was a normal day?
Yeah, if it was a normal day, we usually arrive and then we park at for me, I park at the country bus, and then I pick my passengers back to the countryside. Yeah.
But that is not possible. So how does that affect
business? Because first of all, we don't know what will happen to us. We have no houses. Most of us don't live here in Nairobi. Now we are just now stranded here, and we don't know how long it is going to take. And our passengers here also are stranded here. Some of them are going to Mombasa, and they don't know what will happen now. And it is going to cost us, because I will use a lot of money, maybe finding solutions to ferry them back to, or ferrying them to their destinations.
Yeah. Importantly, though, this is a day that young people are using to maybe, come out and say, speak out, protest and stuff like that. How important is that also? Because yes, it is affecting the business, but there's, there's something young people are pushing for. Or what do you think about this particular agenda?
Now, for the young people, to us, we emotionally support them. We emotionally support them, and because they are passing a very important message to the authorities, that they should know that Kenyans are suffering and most of them are being killed, and we support them anyway. But on the other hand, you see, it is affecting our normal businesses. Things may not even go as everybody is planning, financially, that is, yeah.
Finally, speak so wisely. This is a Gen Z era, where Gen Z are, getting into politics, which is good when young people get into politics, because, it shapes politics in a different way. But this particular day represents a time when Saba Saba happened, and this was represented by maybe guys in your age group. What do you think about Saba Saba right now?
No, personally, that the beginning of Saba Saba, that particular day, I was privileged to be among the people who were being chased around at Kamukunji area. Yeah, I can remember very well. But now that the Gen Zs have brought it up again, I would say it is meaningful, because it reminds us of our past, and some of us think that this should be a holiday for the whole republic, so that people could be commemorating this particular day and reminding people where we came from. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so that is one of the drivers who drives a coach that leads people outside of Nairobi. And he says most of his passengers are people who are on transit, trying to lead their way to Mombasa. And some of them, he'd like to pick most of his passengers from Nairobi. He cannot access Nairobi for now. So that is the situation right now. I've asked him about Saba Saba and what he believes should happen. He says he was part of the guys who participated in Saba Saba and actually believes that this should be a holiday. Maybe just allow people to, celebrate this day and allow young people to lead politics in a maybe different way. That's according to the guy that I've just talked to. But again, I'm on Waiyaki Way, A104, where buses are parked right from Kangemi Police Station down to the Kabati National Polytechnic. Around 40 buses or more parked here, buses that typically would have accessed Nairobi to pick up passengers or, drop passengers in Nairobi. Right now they cannot. Most of these passengers are most of these buses are half buses that are coming from Eldoret, Bungoma, and some of them as far as Kampala. I've talked to some of the passengers here. Most of them are from Uganda. Most of them are from the Western region, and they are stranded right here, either to use Nairobi on transit or to access Nairobi and, go about their business. But for now, still cold, 13 degrees. I'll hand it back to you in studio.
Thank you, Kelly, for that report along the A104 that is around Westland's Waiyaki Way, where buses that would be accessing the CBD, dropping off passengers, have received that roadblock, making them unable to access the CBD. Passengers back in the buses, others have found their ways to their final destinations. It is a coverage that we continue to bring to you. But then again, even as we talk about the roadblocks that we continue to see across the country, just some that we see are Guru Nanak towards town. We have Roysambu Footbridge, Gong Road, as well as Mombasa Road at GM Motors. We have Gong Road around City Mortuary Roundabout, Valley Road at DOD and Integrity Center, Juja Road at Pangani Interchange, and Langata Road near T-Mall. Those are the roads that we continue to see road closures that have been there since around 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. as we were doing our spot checks, and heavy security deployment have been observed at Uhuru Highway, around Kenyatta Avenue Roundabout, Uhuru Highway, Haile Selassie Roundabout, Moi Avenue as well. We have Parliament Road and Harambe Avenue and Kenyatta Avenue as well that has seen roadblocks and normal patrols along Ronald Ngala Street and River Road. And now in the CBD, we have Noah Kipkemboy, who is following up on what is happening along Gong Road. Good morning to you, Noah. What's the situation along Gong Road, and where do we see some of the roadblocks and security deployment along Gong Road?
Then you meet the location. So all the way watu wamehangaika. Unajua mimi nimeshuka LPG.
Well, Aseto, very good afternoon to you. I'm trying to find lots of phone calls coming in, but I'm trying to find proper sounding. We are on Gong Road, just around Nairobi Home, and quite interesting because here activity is pretty chill. Of course, the normal blockade, we are seeing the police utilizing a particular approach where it's sort of seeped. As you come closer to CBD, everything is sieved in a manner that to reduce traffic towards that direction. That is one. But when you look at Gong Road, pretty, most of the days on a normal Monday, you'll find this place having a little bit of traffic here and there. But today is clear as daylight, and nothing much is happening in that regard. We are looking, hello sir, how are you doing? Yeah, so a lot of people using personal vehicles, talking about, public transport that is present. On this other side, we have a matatu, at least a couple that are plying this particular route. These guys have been waiting here for the past almost 30 minutes, and they're wondering what exactly is going on, because it seems quite interesting. And there we have an ambulance that's just gone up. We've been seeing quite a number of movement when it comes to ambulances. I don't know what is happening up Gong Road up that direction. It's something that we'll need to go and check on later on. But this is the second ambulance going that direction for the past 30 minutes or so that we've been here. Not much activity. Remember, today the government told people, from 1CS that it's a normal, it's not a holiday, but people should report to the office. And that is not the case, because we've just come from the CBD, the Central Business District. I was talking to the police officers and I was asking them, do we have public servants inside CBD? Because they're not allowing anyone to go into CBD unless either you're part of the security team, but they're really particular, nobody to get into CBD. So when you look at the roundabouts at the University Way roundabout, they have cordoned that off. When you talk about the GPO roundabout, cordoned off. All the inlets into Parliament cordoned off, and Haile Selassie roundabout also has been cordoned off. So nobody's going into CBD, and they're trying to push people as much as possible out. And when you come out to the sides of Gong Road like we are right now, also we have another layer of security right there. Not much happening here other than people trying to make money. I see some Nduthi guys. Of course, they're always looking for opportunity at that far end. In fact, Seto, just to be vulnerable with you this morning, I was coming from the sides of Kahawa, that is on Thika Road. Public transport totally dead. So I had to get a motorbike, and just flying across Thika Road, had to go through almost 4 roadblocks trying to explain to the police officers that, I'm a journalist, I'm trying to get to work. And that took almost an hour just to get to town. And when you get close to town, you're not allowed into the Central Business District, which also is another challenge. But right now here at Gong Road, just security presence, not much movement. As you see, essential service providers are still doing their business. I see people transporting food stuff, like you can see there at that particular roadblock. Just this gentleman is carrying milk, and essentially the argument that I've seen even in the other roadblocks that I've been part of the negotiation is, I'm carrying food, I'm taking food somewhere, will you allow me to go through? It seems the orders, police officers talking to them, some of them listen to you, and most of them just tell you, Ebu, go back, and that is what is happening right here. So it seems to be a point where people are coming and just turning around. If you're trying to get to town, most likely you wouldn't be allowed to go through. So a lot of people taking their borders and trying to get back home and wherever they are coming from. Also, we have quite a sizable population that are walking, and you can see also, since the matatus are not filling up as fast as they should, so some people are taking that option just to walk back to wherever they are coming from. But that's the situation this morning of the 35th anniversary of Saba Saba. And it's quite interesting, Seto, just looking back in history, because when you talk about Saba Saba, it's about clamor for multi-partyism, democracy at the core of everything. And here there's a gentleman, if we may just chat him up kidogo. Mkubwa, naona, what's your name? Unaitwa nani?
Naitwa Said.
Said, unatoka wapi?
Ninatoka Sauti, nauza maziwa ngamia. Sisi tumeamua kufanya kazi, lakini polisi wanatusumbua. Polisi ndio wanaleta shida yote ya kutufungia njia, tumeshindwa kupita kufanya kazi.
Ulikuwa unapeleka maziwa yako wapi?
Hurlingham.
Hiyo ni client wanangoja maziwa Hurlingham.
Wanangojea kwa nyumba, wanangojea maziwa, tumeshindwa kufanya kazi. Jua mapolisi wamefunga roadblock kila mahali. Alafu wanasema watu wasifanye maandamano. Hii ndio sasa inaleta maandamano kitu kama hii. Polisi kutunyanyasa. Ndio.
Kutoka Hurlingham umepitia roadblocks ngapi ndio ufike hapa Gong Road?
Gong Road nimepitia pale Timol, na kuna nyingine hapa sasa hapa Nairobi Hospital. Nimeshindwa kupeleka maziwa Parklands. Nimeshindwa kwenda Westlands. Huko yote nimeshindwa kwenda. Ndio.
Sasa hii inamaanisha nini kwa biashara yako? Leo utapoteza pesa ngapi?
Wametuharibia biashara leo, tumepoteza pesa mingi. Hizi maziwa zitaharibika, tumepoteza pesa nyingi sana leo. Kwa maana client wanaongojea nyumbani maziwa na sisi tumeshindwa kufanya kazi. Ndio.
Asante sana. Naona watu wa bodaboda wamejaa hapa sana. Asanteni sana, mmefunga njia. Naona kuna polisi pia wanakuja. Watu wa bodaboda naona wamekuwa very active. Na naona wengi wanaambiwa wajipe shughuli waanze kuenda. Aha. Sawa sawa, asante sana. Wakubwa, nyinyi mmetoka wapi?
Tumetoka hapa Green Park, tumepigiwa block. Tunashindwa hata hatuwezi demonstrate haki yetu.
Wewe ulikuwa umekuja kudemonstrate?
Haki yangu bana. Kwa future watoi wangu tujitetee. Tusipojitetea nani atatutetea? Kwa hivyo tunaomba watu tufungulie njia tu demonstrate kwa amani. Na turudi kwa nyumba.
Ache kuwa muoga sana. Ache kuziba njia, ache kuoga mingi man. Rais ache uoga mingi.
Leo
na tuweke kwa meza tuongee.
Watu waongee. Na tukimalizia Saba Saba wewe inamaanisha nini kwako? Ukikumbuka Saba Saba.
Saba Saba ni siku ngori. Siku ya Saba Saba, ni siku ya kuwanyonga bado pia.
Mimi kama nakumbuka Saba Saba, wazazi wetu walipigania Saba Saba. Pia sisi tunawakilisha vizuri. Hatuna haja na makarau, sisi ni kudemonstrate na haki. Hiyo kampungi hapana, sisi ni hapa tu demonstrate haki yetu isikizwe.
Na hiyo story ya ati kuna vandalism. Tukialau maandamano, biashara za watu zinavunjwa, watu watafanya balance kudemonstrate bila kuvunja vitu za watu.
Hakuna vandalism. Unaona kitu inafanyika, hao watu ndio wanatuchokoza. Sisi wakituacha tufanye peaceful demonstration, hakuwezi kuwa na vandalism. Lakini sasa pia wakiamua tuende route nyingine, ambia tu rais apunguze uoga. Akiacha uoga si tafanya mambo peaceful, lakini akileta ushujaa pia si ni mashujaa.
Asanteni sana wakubwa. Sawa sawa, thank you very much. So here we have some young people also who are looking to demonstrate today, but just looking at the security formation. Today that has not been able to happen. So all the roadblocks that have been set aside, they say that they were hoping to get to town to demonstrate peacefully, but that has not happened. But that's the latest from Gong Road at Nairobi Funeral Home. Quite an interesting place to be this cold morning. Back to you, Seto.
Thank you, Noah, for that report. I'll continue to bring you what is happening on the ground with regard to the Saba Saba demonstrations that was to take place, but that has been thwarted due to the heavy police presence across all roads across the country. And it's a conversation that we've been having here in the studio. And Bishop, now, as you look at what is happening, as you've had that young man, let us go demonstrate peacefully, and we will hear you. If you come with violence, then we will fight back. Seems as though the government is demonstrating and demonstrators are demonstrating as well.
First of all, it's a right. Anything that is found in the Constitution should be applicable, not when the people in power want, but as far as it is applicable. The right to picketing has been captured very clearly in the Constitution. Equally speaking to the young people, there are boundaries to it. Number one, it's not location. It's not location that is the boundary. And I want leaders to hear that. It's not captured in the Constitution that here and here and here you shouldn't go. The only thing that is captured are only two. Number one, peaceably. Number two, unarmed. But they have decided to add number three, Nairobi. Number four, here. Number five. There are only two things. So according to the government, their haste to break law is what makes other people continue to break even law, because the peaceably aspect of it should be there. So equally speaking, both boundaries are, there are boundaries to both. The government should allow picketing. Equally speaking, on these young people, it should be peaceably and by the way, can I shock you, my brother? Yeah. Can I read for you verses that deal with protest?
Briefly, just one.
Okay, it's amazing. There are verses in the book of Proverbs that talks about protest. There are verses in the book of Micah, Amos, and things like that. In fact, the Bible says that it is wisdom for you to shout, but shout in love. And when you shout in view of protest, you're protesting against something, then the hope of that thing that you're protesting for, it will be heard by the person, and therefore it will be changed. And therefore the view of people feeling as if, either from the security apparatus, when there is picketing involved, it's not going to ask the police, it's going to inform the police. The work of the police is to create, the necessary security. Because remember, even the people that are demonstrating, they need to be protected. So people feel as if it's only businesses and what. The protection is for all Kenyans, whether the Kenyan is protesting or the Kenyan is not protesting. And therefore, if we strike this balance, I feel like when you look at things like the law, sometimes the government, they say that we should follow the law. They abscond things like court orders. And then you're telling the same Kenyans to follow court orders. They abscond things like picketing, and then you're telling, but I feel like at the end of the day, the government always fights what it doesn't at that particular time need. For example, until you come to government, and I want to ask this government, could they be doing the same if they were not in power, seeking to come to power? You remember the other day, picketing was okay because you are yet to come to power. But things change when it's no longer serving you. My advice is that whether it's the government or the people of Kenya, we should learn to uphold the law. And once we uphold the law from both divides, it becomes easy to run a nation. But if one of them breaks it, the other one doesn't see the need of following it.
All right, Billion. The demonstrators have not accessed the CBD. They've not been allowed to access the CBD, whether it is in Nairobi, we've seen Mombasa, the same case, and we've seen different counties. But has the message gotten home?
Thank you so much. Just looking at how things are unfolding, I know tomorrow the normal politicians will come and say, you see, there's nothing that happened. But the message is home. The message is clear. The police are overworking. They're doing things they're not supposed to be doing right now. We're seeing a lot of people getting stranded. And the same question, for how long? So for me, I think the message is home. It's just the consumers of the message has been slow, as Pastor John said, Bishop John said. They've been slow with digesting and consuming the message. But the message is clear. Young people from all across, you've been seeing them saying one term. Some are even just saying for fun, but some are saying, this one term is just, please listen to us. If you want to lead us, listen to the people that you want to lead. Yeah, so the message is very clear, and you can hear even young people starting to say, the government omeogopa. Yeah, so you don't want to look like you're panicking. You don't want to look like you don't know what to do how to deal with these young people. Yeah.
Bishop, if you look at the issues that are being raised right now, even if you go back to the 90s when Saba Saba was really hot, one would argue that all that the people are asking for is for change. And if the government picks that, the government automatically succeeds. If you look at it from that angle, the government succeeds. One would argue that all Kenyans want is for the government to succeed in its job. Would you reckon?
It's very easy, as I told you. One of the advantages of a leader that desires wisdom is to study change. How change was deployed in the 1800s might probably be different from today. Like, for example, let me ask you, we have wars that took place, in old. They used to use spears and bows and arrows. But the war in our generation now has shifted, because now you can see we have things like bombs, we have things like grenades and whatever, things that probably were not there earlier on back in life. And therefore, if you're going to fight, you must first of all study the change and the location through which that place, the environment has, is building capacity. It's very easy for a government to understand only if the desire is to serve the people. Sometimes I wonder, when people are coming into power, what's really the goal? Like, for example, Mr. Billion here says that you heard him say that he was vying for the UDA parliamentary seat using the UDA flag. The question was, what is the goal? Do we have a goal prior, or the goal is to be a member of parliament? Sometimes I feel like we don't have a goal apart from getting that thing. And then now when we get that thing and sit there, then we're like, okay, so what's a member of parliament supposed to do? What's a president supposed to do? What is so hard when a leader sits down and says, wait, okay, let's assume what you're saying is true. There are tribal people. Let's assume there are people that are making the payments. Fine, no problem. Sit down with the people. Remove those doubts. Let's first of all, Kenyans are not fools. They'll be able to identify, truly this is tribal. But you cannot isolate a people simply because your ideologies and your ideas do not reflect on what their views are. And a leader is there to serve the people. A leader is there to serve the people, not themselves.
All right. A leader is there to serve the people and not themselves. It is a hope that with the demonstrations that would get to be heard. But let's go to Kitangela, where we touch base with Suleiman Nyeri, who is there. Good morning, Suleiman. It has been a busy morning. Just what's the situation like in Kitangela, Nyeri?
Thank you, Aseto. We are coming to you live from Kitangela. This is a town where there has been so many demonstrations in the past since the start of the 2024 Gen Z demonstration. Kindly allow me to speak in Swahili. Hapa tupo katika mji wa Kitangela ambao upo katika kaunti ya Kajiado. Kadri unavyoona ni kwamba mji huu umekuwa ukishuhudia maandamano mara kwa mara. Kila wakati maandamano yamekuwa yakiitishwa, mji huu wa Kitangela umekuwa moja ya miji ambayo kumekuwa kushuhudiwa maandamano ambayo yamekuwa ya ghasia. Leo hii tunaona kwamba vijana wamejitokeza hapa. Tayari barabara hii ya Kitangela kutoka maeneo ya Namanga, Bisi imefungwa. Vile vile kutoka upande wa Nairobi kuingia ndani ya mji wa Kitangela, mji huu pia umefungwa, na sasa hivi hakuna hata shughuli ambayo inafanyika eneo hilo kwa sasa hivi. Vijana wengi ambao walikuwa wapo kwenye mitaa wameingia katika mji huu sasa hivi wakiwa wanaweka mawe kwenye barabara. Maafisa wa polisi ambao pia ni wengi katika eneo hili wamekuwa wakijaribu kuzima maandamano haya, kwa sababu wamekuwa wanapowekewa mawe wamekuwa wakiondoa. Lakini vijana hawa kadri unavyowaona wamejitokeza kwa wengi, na ndio unaona hawa hapa wamenizingira kwa sasa hivi tayari kuelezea kile ambacho kinaendelea katika mji huu. Kumbuka kwamba leo hii ni siku ya kuadhimisha siku ya Sabasaba, ambayo ni maadhimisho ya kukumbuka ule uhuru wa kuwa na vyama vingi humu nchini na kuhakikisha kwamba miaka 35. Kwa hivyo hapa sasa hivi vijana kadha wa kadha wamejitokeza, wamefunga barabara, hawajakuwa wakishughulika kivyovyote vile na maafisa wa polisi wakiwapatia nafasi ya kuendeleza na shughuli zao. Kwa hivyo hawa ni vijana ambao wamejitokeza kwa wingi katika eneo hili. Sijui kama unanisikia Seto, ni kwa sababu vijana hawa wako hapa sasa hivi kuhakikisha kwamba yale ambayo yapo moyoni kwao yanaweza kusikika na kuweza kunini. Tusikie kauli zao kidogo, baadhi yao ambao wako hapa. Kwa hivyo kadri unavyoona Seto, hivyo ndivyo ilivyo. Vijana wamejitokeza kwa wingi hapa katika eneo hili la Kitangela. Nirudi kwako studioni.
That is the situation in Kitangela there, as the demonstrators have come to the roads, and you've been told that the roads there have been blocked with police officers trying to manage the situation, removing stones that have been put on the roads. This, as we continue to follow up on what is happening, some long-distance travelers, especially along the A104 route that is around Waiyaki Way, have been stranded. Let's just listen into what these passengers have to say with regard to the inconveniences that they have experienced the whole morning.
Unasikiaje juu ya hizi maneno? Kwa sababu leo ni Sabasaba, vijana wanajaribu wanafanya siasa yao, si ndio? Lakini pia serikali venye inaihandle ni kama ina block kila kitu sasa, kibiashara na everything. Unafikiriaje?
Na feel myself I feel bad because kasa hii nimepewa chakula inaharibika huko kwa boot. Ningekuwa nimepanga niende leo nipate nini kama holiday ya tu kuwa na kazi, niende nipike nilale ndio kesho nirauke. But now I'm here. I don't know when I will be at home. I'm feeling bad.
I'm sorry. Mimi I hope utafika mapema enough na chakula isiharibike. Asante. Unaelekea wapi?
And those are the sights and sounds of what the situation today is. You see that passenger was expecting to get home, but unfortunately she is unable to get there. And as you can see, those are live images coming to you from various parts of the country. That is Githurai. As you can see, our protesters, the young people have started coming out. The numbers are growing by the moment. The situation is pretty much the same in other parts of Nairobi, especially in Kitangela. Let's go back to Waiyaki Way and listen into what these passengers have to say.
Nilikuwa natoka nyumbani Maocha kuelekea mjini kwa shughuli ya kutafuta riziki. Wakati nilitoka huko sikuwa natarajia kwamba itakuwa hivi. So when I arrive kitu ilikuwa saa 9 na kikaturamba. That's why unaona tuko mahali hapa kwa saa hizi. Hata tumeshindwa tufanyaje wala tuende wapi. Mimi naona kama tumefinywa na maisha na serikali. Sasa ningekuwa job nafanya shughuli zangu. Juu pia kamwezi kamefika. Ndani ndo anaitisha mshahara yake ya mwisho wa mwezi.
So hapa hivi unaona shida ni kama serikali ingehandle siku vizuri, ingekuwa kama basi kama hii haina mtu anaandamana, anaingia town, anafika kwenye anaenda. So unaona ni kama serikali ingehandle better.
Mimi ningeona hivi, juu siku ya Saba Saba ilikuwa siku ya maandamano ya vijana kwa kujitetea haki yao, unaona. Sasa imefikia wakati mpaka serikali imeingilia katikati, imefanya kila kitu, hata upande wa biashara, upande wa kikazi iko chini, unaona. But mimi ningeomba hivi, ingekuwa poa serikali ingekaa chini, iwache vijana wafanye nini? Wamalize shughuli yao. Haikuwa mbaya. Tena ingeisha mapema.
Good luck, usipoteze pesa mingi zaidi kwa sababu pia mwezi umesema imepiga kona. Mambo
poa sana.
Unaitwa nani? Pole. Kisa.
And from A104 with passengers there, let's go to Thika Road, Githurai, where we touch base with Davis Mberia. Davis Mberia, the situation along Thika Road seems to be changing. We're seeing numbers of demonstrators coming to the road. Just what's the situation like? Has anything changed from morning, Mberia?
Good morning, Aseto. Yes, as you say, the situation has already changed. When we got here, the situation was calm. Everyone was just by the road looking, and businesses were actually going on as usual. But as I speak right now, everything has been shut down. The businesses here, the transport system here, and everyone is actually making their own way, lighting up, of course, the tires on the other side. Everyone has their own, of course, flags, and they have said it is starting, and up until the end of today, they will not back down. They are not going actually to relent what they say. They are fighting for their rights. They are fighting to be heard, and they are fighting for what they term as a constitutional right. I'll be speaking to some of the youth. Ni aje bro, tuambie tu jina lako bro, alafu utueleze hali vipi humu ndani. Niambie tu jina, usiogope, njoo kaka. Hujambo, niambie tu jina lako ni nani, alafu utuambie. Mambo, kofiti, wewe unaitwa nani na leo umejitokeza maandamano ya Saba Saba, unazungumziaje?
Mimi venye nazungumzia, majina yangu naitwa Jennifer Muriuki.
kutoka Githurai 45. Venye nimeona kuhusu hii maandamano. Hii maandamano ni ya bila chuki, ni ya amani. Juu ukiangalia hakuna mtu yeyote ameguza kichwa mtu, na tunaandamana kusema president must go.
Kile ambacho unasema kwamba mnapambania haki yenu na kwamba ni maandamano ya amani, lakini tumeona tayari kuna matairi pale yashatiwa moto, kila mmoja anapiga firimbi, kelele. Kuna amani kwa kweli?
Kuko na amani. Juu ukiona hakuna mtu mwenye anaguzwa hapa. Kila mtu ako shughuli zake, biashara zinaendelea huko. Hakuna mwenye anaguza kitu ya kile mtu mwingine. Na wewe kama mwanabiashara umeweza kupoteza leo? Leo nimeweza kupoteza juu sikuweza kupata pesa yenye huwa napata kila siku.
Shukrani sana. Kwa wale ambao pengine wanatizama, nini ambacho unahisi kwamba kinafaa kibadilishwe na kinafaa kishughulikiwe na serikali, na unahisi kwamba kwa nini vijana wamekasirika?
Mimi kitu ya kwanza naambia serikali ni kwanza asikize Gen Z, asikie maoni yao. Kitu ya pili, hiyo kusema kuhusu hiyo kanisa yenye anajenga, hiyo kwanza ashughulikie. Juu venye anaendelea kuweka chumvi juu ya kidonda. Watu wamekasirika sana, na wakisema wajenge kila mtu kanisa yake hapo itakuwa sawa. Kwa hivyo asikize majenzi, na tunasema Luso must go.
Asante sana. Huyo ni baadhi tu ya wale waandamanaji. Kaka, niambie jina lako, kisha leo umejitokeza kuandamana. What can you say about the Saba Saba protest today?
Jina naitwa Bernard Mutua. Tunasema tumechoka na Ruto. Tunasema ni one time. Hizo pesa zenye anaharibu kujenga kanisa State House, angetafutia vijana kazi. Sisi kama vijana hatuna kazi na tunataka kazi. Na kama hakuna kazi, hakuna imani kwa hii serikali yake, ama ajitoe. Na tutahakikisha lazima atajitoa. Tunasema one time.
Kile ambacho unasema kwamba ni uwezo wenyu haujashughulikiwa, matako wenyu hajashughulikiwa, na pia kuna kilio kwamba hamna nafasi za ajira wewe kama kijana. Pakubwa, kando na hiyo, unataka nini kirekebishwe?
Sasa vijana kama sisi kama vijana, tunataka tutafutiwe kazi, tupewe kazi. Juu hizo pesa zenye anaharibu kwenda kujenga huko, angefaa kuwa sisi kama vijana ndo anatutafutia kazi. Hizo zenye 2 billion anaenda kujenga huko kanisa, sijui eti State House, anafaa kuwa anatutafutia kazi.
Leo pakubwa nimeona maandamano ni mapema ukilinganisha na hapo awali venye maandamano yamekuwa.
Leo ni Sabasaba. Na leo maandamano ya leo ni kali.
Nimeona kuna makundi ambayo mengine yalikuwa yanaelekea kule town, pengine kuna vijana ambao wameenda kule.
Leo kuna vijana kwa maandamano.
Asante.
Na tunasema one time.
Kaka, tueleze tu jina lako, alafu leo kama kijana umejitokeza kwa ajili ya nini?
Kwa majina ni Boaz Okot. Mi leo nimejitokeza kuandamana sababu bei ya maisha, gharama ya maisha iko juu, hatuna kazi, vijana wanahangaika. So ndio tunasema Ruto must go.
Vijana wanahangaika, wewe kivyako pakubwa nini ambacho umepoteza?
Mimi kivyangu ninahangaika sababu sina kazi, sina chochote. Sasa nimekuja kuhangaika hapa ili niandamane. Juu leo ni siku ya Saba Saba.
Aseto, those are some of the sentiments from, of course, the youth here, just lamenting about the economy and talking about the job opportunity which they can't access right now. They are angry and they say they will not actually relent to what they say. They are fighting for their rights and fighting for the opportunities. So I'll be here just to keep a keen eye on what will be happening, talking to the residents, talking to everyone who has come out to protest on the Saba Saba, of course, day that marks 35 years. Back to you, Aseto.
Thank you, Beria, for that. And as you bring us up to speed, please be careful and stay safe. Now, gentlemen, briefly, as we conclude this conversation this morning, what would be the way out? What are the solutions?
Thank you. I think my clarion call has always been listen. I think it's time for the political class to realize that there's a shift in dynamics on how people are looking at things and what people want, especially young people. Please just listen to young people. Bring them on table. You see, I saw there were a couple of appointments over the weekend, and you can barely see the face of a young person. We are the majority, we are the future of this country, we are the foundation, we are the strength of this country. Please give young people a chance, not just to be poster boys, but to be part of the change of this country.
Bishop, from the church, we know there is also a 1.2 billion church, 8,000 capacity being built. What would be your take and what would be the solution moving forward?
The church should be involved in not only correcting when they are not benefiting, but also correcting when they are benefiting. It will take all Kenyans to build Kenya, not a part of Kenyans, not this tribe, not that tribe, not these old people, young people. It will take all of us. And my last line will be this. Leviticus 19 says, let there be no hate among in your heart for your brother. So to the young people, make sure as you are doing this, let hate not be found, but you may make a protest to your neighbor so that he may be stopped from doing evil. Protests help to stop evil. The faster the leaders learn that, the better the country will have.
The faster the leaders hear that, the safer the country is, the better the country is for all of us. And that is a conversation that we've been having from early in the morning. That is 6 a.m. from Spice FM all the way to 11. And even moving forward, it's a conversation that will continue right here on home of Bold newspaper, KTN Standard Media Group. Our colleague continue to bring you up to speed. Hadia Masiwa will be coming in with the Swahili segment, continues to bring you blow by blow, wall-to-wall coverage of the situation of Saba Saba Day reflections across the country. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. My name is Dennis Aseto in studio. I was with Billion Ojiwa, who is a youth, who is a community organizer, and Bishop JW, who is here and also a youth supporter.